Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Farida here, and today we are finally talking about Avengers Infinity War. I wanted to wait a couple days. I know some people haven't seen it. You know, not everyone goes Thursday night as soon as they can to go see it. So I was like, okay, I'll wait till Sunday morning. Plus, after that, after the movie, you know, I kind of immediately wanted to film something because I had so many emotions. But I think it's good that I waited a couple of days because I've had some time to think about things. And sometimes when you review something right after you've seen it, you kind of say things and it's like, well, actually that does make sense. So it gave me a couple of days to really think about everything that happened. Like, so much happened. And how I kind of want to review this is I was reading an article on Cineblend, and they were talking about the 12 most shocking things that happened in Infinity War, and I didn't agree with all of them, but I decided to select a few from the list and then add a few. So altogether, there's about 8 as opposed to their 12. So in the beginning, this is number 1. Thor is already defeated at the beginning of the film. So if you remember in Thor Ragnarok, it ended with all of the Asgardians on a ship. They were headed towards Earth, and then out of nowhere, we see Thanos' ship kind of just pop up, and we know what's going to happen. So I think for myself, and I can speak for a lot of people, where we thought in the beginning of Avengers Infinity War, we were going to have Thanos board the ship, and then they were going to fight and somehow work it out, because that's normally what happens to our heroes, right? That didn't happen at all. So the article says, with that in mind, you can imagine our surprise when Avengers Infinity War opened and we saw that the Asgardian refugee vessel had already been mostly destroyed by Thanos and his goons. In fact, Thor is already on the brink of death when the movie begins. Avengers Infinity War is a profoundly somber movie, and a few elements of the story hammer that idea home more than seeing the film's most powerful heroes get their asses handed to them early, which was so true. So I mean, I guess because they're gods, I just kind of assumed if you're going to have anyone being able to at least battle Thanos, it was going to be Thor and Loki, but they got their butts kicked. And then that goes on to my next 2 most shocking moments, which is Loki's death. So Loki is a trickster who has the power to change shape and astral project his own image. So you never know when he's really there. I mean, we know in the past he's faked his own death. He's done so many things to hurt Thor by using his powers. And one of his powers also is intellect. So I thought he was going to be able to outsmart Thanos in some way. Because again, that's what we're used to seeing in all these movies. That these heroes eventually win. And that the villains are usually, they're powerful, but they don't do a lot, guys. I mean, one of the things that Marvel kind of has had against them is that their villains kind of suck, or they're not that scary. But now looking at it, it's like looking at the beginning of this film, you can tell that they've been slowly getting us ready for Thanos, and that Thanos is the big bad that we've been waiting for. So when he was choking Loki, I thought, okay, so Loki had said, you know, I am the son of Odin's son, you know, he had finally come to terms with his past and finally bonded with his brother. And so I was really worried, like, okay, we're having Loki kind of like say his last final moments here, but he's not actually gonna die. But we know when he astral projects, he's not actually there, so you can't touch him. And Thanos actually choked him. And when he presented that knife, I was like, Loki, that's not smooth at all. Like, that wasn't very Loki-like. So I thought he had a trick, but from what we've seen, I mean, he's really dead. And the one thing also with that scene, so are all of the Asgardians dead? Because Thanos only likes to kill half of a population, but it seemed like their ship blew up. It seemed like a lot of them were dead. So I couldn't figure that out either. Tell me in the comments section, did I miss something? I plan on seeing the movie again today, so I'm sure I'm going to pick up on a lot more stuff. But it looked to me like all the Asgardians were dead. And Loki was dead. That was the only moment in the movie that I genuinely almost cried, and that was early on. Like, I had tears in my eyes, and I was like, it's too early to be crying, because there's going to be a lot of people dead, so I need to, like, not cry. Which was good, because I mentally prepared myself to some of the other shocking things that are coming. Next shocking thing. The Hulk is so easily defeated. That was shocking for me. So with the Hulk being on board with Asgardians, one would think they'd had a chance against Thanos. But that was hardly the case. One of Thanos' children, Ebony Moss, even says to the other children, like, let him have his fun. There's no competition whatsoever, which is shocking because thus far in the universe, Hulk is the strongest being. Thanos throws him around so easily that we don't even see Hulk again for the rest of the film because Hulk isn't used to losing. He's so shook that he loses his confidence and leaves us with Banner to do all the work. Now, this was shocking because, again, Hulk is always able to at least stay in the fight with everyone else, right? Like on Earth, Hulk is banned because he's so terrifying and he doesn't have control. So to see Thanos just toy with him was shocking. I was like, what? So you guys have hyped up Hulk all this time as being this being that's just amazing and can beat up anyone, and Thanos just kind of just threw him around, just had fun with him, which I understood was kind of a plot point to tell the audience, like, look, in the beginning of this story, you're going to see he doesn't care, he's ruthless, he'll kill anyone, he'll kill innocents. Hulk is no match to him, Thor is no match to them, and they're the most godly and powerful beings in this MCU. And I understood what they were trying to do. My only issue with it is as we moved along in the story, we had Thanos, I mean, he punched Tony in the face and he didn't break his face. So that I had an issue with. Because when it came to humans, even Captain America, you know, when he's kind of like smushing him down, we didn't, I don't know, I feel like there was an inconsistency of power there where I didn't understand, maybe because they were in space. You guys probably know a little bit better than I do. Was it because they were in space and then Hulk isn't as powerful, or what am I missing here? I'm like I said, I'm gonna watch it again today, but I didn't understand that. So you could take down Hulk easily, but you punch Tony Stark in the face and his like whole skull doesn't shatter open. I had issues with that, and but it didn't bother me that Hulk didn't come back. I would have loved to see more Hulk, but I understood it's kind of going to be, this is part one, so it's going to be a character arc for him. And he was just so defeated that he didn't want to come back. He's used to being the baddest being out there. So I understood that, and I like the arc that they're trying to do. I just thought that, like, it just kind of minimized Thanos' power just a tad when he was fighting all of the other beings. That didn't make sense that they would be stronger than Hulk. Other shocking thing was Red Skull's return. I was not expecting that. So, Avengers Infinity War answers a question that many Marvel fans have wondered ever since the credits rolled for Captain America: The First Avenger. Where the hell did Red Skull go? Well, 7 years after the debut of that film, we finally get our answer. It turns out that the Tesseract blasted the Nazi scientist into space, and he has been a better part of the century, on a secluded planet overlooking the location of the Soul Stone. So he's been overlooking this Soul Stone the whole time, which I kind of understand. That's the universe's way of saying, oh, you really, really wanted an Infinity Stone? Well, guess what? We're going to banish you to this planet, and you're just going to have to look over it for eternity until the right person comes along and claims it. Knowing that Red Skull is alive, albeit played by a different actor now, it's huge for Captain America corner of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it promises the potential of even more evil from the classic villain as the MCU presses forward into the events of the Avengers 4. So when he came on screen, I was like, whoa, no way, that is so cool. It's like a perfect punishment for him. That's what he gets for being so greedy. I love that. I thought that was really, really shocking because I tried very hard. I'm sure some people knew that he was going to be in the film, but I tried to stay away from spoilers. I like to go in fresh. I love doing trailer reactions and seeing what kind of things we're going to get in a film, but I don't go search for spoilers. So seeing him and seeing his punishment and knowing that he's still in the world and he could possibly come back is very, very exciting, but that one really had me shocked. I was excited. Next one. Gamora's death. Oh, gosh. Okay. Although Avengers Infinity War opens with some major deaths on board the Asgardian refugee ship, those deaths are relatively easy to see coming for fans who have done their homework. That said, things get even more intense from there when Thanos takes Gamora to obtain the Soul Stone. There, with a sad look on his face, we watch as the Mad Titan somberly murders Gamora in order to acquire the gem. Okay, so I thought for sure this was going to be some type of plot twist. Because it's obvious that he really loved Gamora. I mean, kind of, but he's a sick and twisted guy. Which is it was just interesting because I thought it was going to be something along the lines where you have to kill the person that you love, and Red Skull kind of said these lines where it seemed like maybe it was going to be a trick, and a lot of people fail at this. And I thought that the trick was going to be that he obviously loves himself more than anyone else. So I thought that he was going to make the mistake and throw Gamora off, but she was going to live because that wasn't really the person he loved. Oh my gosh. And then when I thought basically what he was going to do is he knew that he loved himself the most, so he was going to have to throw himself over, but then die. My thoughts didn't make sense. When I look back on it, it doesn't make sense that he would die and then come back and then get the Soul Stone. But you guys know where I'm at here, right? Like, you didn't think that he was actually going to throw her. But he did, and she's dead. Like, I think she's dead. I don't think she's coming back. I don't think that when they reverse time, or whatever they're going to have to do in the next Avengers Part 4, she's not coming back. We'll see. I think it'll be a cop-out, because that was a sacrifice that had to be made, but that hurt my heart too. That was very close to the Loki death, where I was close to tears, because we all love Gamora. And to not see her on screen anymore is going to be a huge bummer. Next one that's very shocking is Vision's murder. Every character takes a beating in Avengers Infinity War, but Vision arguably gets the worst of it. He really does. He got beat, which I don't understand, because I always assume that Vision's powers are just stronger than that, but I guess because he got stabbed pretty early that messed him up really bad. Plus, his stone was kind of like Harry Potter's scar, where it has him where it has him kind of thrown off and he can't think straight. Not only does he go through some serious pain during the battle versus Thanos' army and the Black Order, but he also is forced to have Scarlet Witch kill him to destroy the Mind Stone before he can fall into Thanos' hands. Now, that part of the film kind of bugged me, and I'll go into that as a shocking moment later on. It was really hard for me to understand. I get that he's an Avenger, but their whole catalyst as to not killing him was like, well, we aren't going to trade a life for a life or something like that. But it's like, but you're allowing all these Wakandans to sacrifice their lives against these crazy ass bugs, but we can't kill him to get the stone out, or we can save half of the whole universe population. Those things didn't weigh in for me. And I get it, he's an Avenger and they all want to save each other, but I didn't love that. But it was shocking that I knew Thanos was gonna use the Time Stone, but at the same time I was like, again, these movies have us all set up in our mind that the heroes are going to win. And when you really think about this film, which was so interesting more than anything, was that Thanos was kind of the hero. Like, the movie was Thanos' film, because we go from planet to planet with different characters, and I loved that we got to spend time with all of the characters, and I loved all of their interaction with each other, but the most consistent part of the film was Thanos. I mean, really, he was the protagonist, and everyone else was the antagonist. Like, he had a goal, he had something in mind, and if you when I watch it again, I kind of want to watch it from the point of view that he's our protagonist, and all these people are keeping him from getting his goal. So anyway, so the fact that he used the Time Stone to go and kill Vision, it's like, man, like, this is such a bold film. It's really bold. It was shocking, because a lot of times it's the logical thing, and when you watch a movie, you're like, why doesn't he just do that? And they actually did it, which was shocking, and it was great. And I don't love Vision that much, so to see him go didn't crush me as much, but man, it was ballsy. It was ballsy more than anything, so... Alright, so moving along, Doctor Strange handing over the Time Stone. So as one of the adults in the room, Stephen Strange makes it pretty clear early on that he has no intention of letting Thanos complete the Infinity Gauntlet. He's like, I don't care about you, Tony Stark. You may boss everyone else around, but you're not bossing me around. Like, I just met you. I don't care. I am in charge of defending the universe and the world. And Doctor Strange was one of my favorite parts about this film, because I really liked his movie. I didn't love it, but to see his character progression and how he kind of took his selfish nature and decided to include the universe as to what he cares about was really good. And Benedict Cumberbatch, he is Doctor Strange. The casting in these films are fantastic, but let me move on. That said, as the Mad Titan delivers a potentially killing blow to Tony Stark in the Battle of Titan, which really, the killing blow should have been the punch to the face initially. We won't go there. Strange decides to acquiesce and make a deal. He offers up the Time Stone around his neck in exchange for Tony Stark's survival. Here's the one thing. We don't think Strange did that out of the kindness of his heart, which I agree with. So when I saw it, I thought, what? You just preached all these things about like how Tony Stark doesn't matter and it's about the universe, and then you just go and you just give him the Time Stone. And then I sat down and I mean, in my mind, I kind of focused and I was like, oh, you know, he found there was one way for the world to survive. So obviously he has to hand him the Time Stone. It seemed to me like he knows what he has to do, and Tony Stark is a huge part of part 4 that's going to happen, and he had to give him the stone. So after that initial shock, because it was shocking, I was like, we cannot believe that this dude is doing this right now. But as the moment happened, I thought, okay, so he has a plan. We're going to be all right, but don't tell me initially that you guys weren't a little shocked that he gave it up that easily. Next shocking thing, Thor's arrival in Wakanda. Earth's mightiest heroes are largely fractured, splintered, and scattered throughout the cosmos during the events of Avengers Infinity War. That's what makes Thor's arrival in the Battle of Wakanda so surprising. Agreed, because all of a sudden it's like, boom, back on Earth, and that was shocking. And we got Rocket, and that was good. And the King of Asgard shows up with Rocket the Raccoon and Groot at his side, and the three lend a helping hand to turn the tide of the battle against Thanos' army. So at this point, this scene for me, the battle against Thanos' army with Captain America and Wakanda, was really the weakest point, because it reminded me a lot of the Battle of Naboo, which sounds very not good because we're comparing it to a prequel. But guys, did it not remind you of that? Like, you had the Gungans against the robots, and you had like the blue orb of defense. Like, they was very similar, and they were like out in a grassy valley. I was like, this is Naboo right now, and that is not a good thing, because anything that you can compare to Jar Jar and the Gungans is not great. I mean, of course, the battle sequences looked fantastic, but I couldn't get it out of my mind. And then all of a sudden, Thor shows up with Groot and Rocket. I'm like, dude, this battle scene was just taken to the next level. I was just so shocked. I was not expecting that at all, especially because we didn't get it in the preview. And it was just like, it just turned that scene from Naboo to just the next level. It was just excellent. It was awesome. And that was really shocking, and I loved it. Shocking in a good way. That was one of the few shocks that I was like, yes, bring it on. Okay, next, Thor failing to kill Thanos. Every major hero in the Avengers Infinity War has a connection to Thanos in some way or another, but Thor is the one with the clearest sense of personal hatred towards the Mad Titan. Of course, he just went and killed all of his people. Or half. We don't know yet. It's hard not to understand why. You watch Heimdall and Loki die in the opening scene, and it's clear that Thor doesn't have much left to lose after his encounter with Thanos and the Black Order. With that in mind, Stormbreaker's killing blow against Thanos seemed to provide an incredible sense of pathos for the film when it looks like Thor has finally done the impossible. But then we're treated to one of the film's bigger surprises, when it turns out that Thanos still has some life left in him. Not to mention the ability to move his fingers. Damn it, Thor, you should have aimed for the head. I don't blame Thor. I mean, like, you would think you get the guy's heart, that you would get him, but should have chopped his head off. Better yet, you should have chopped his arm off, and we could have gotten that damn glove. That was really surprising. I thought it was going to be too good to be true. Man, Thanos is so hard to take down. Again, this movie is so ballsy and shocking, because all of these tropes that are normally in a superhero movie where you have your heroes prevail, they just don't. And when you think about Thanos as being the protagonist, guys, really, when you see this again, watch it from that point of view. And he's kind of the hero / anti-hero. Things constantly go in his favor, as would normally for all of our superheroes, right? And so if you watch it from that point of view, you realize all these things are going to happen for him, because he's our protagonist. He's the person that we follow as we go along. So the fact that Thor isn't able to kill him shouldn't be so shocking, because he is the protagonist. And it was such a bummer, though, because you thought, yes, he's gonna get him right in time, and he just didn't. It was shocking, because you thought that was it. And then our final, most shocking moment, of course, is the ending where everyone starts to disappear. So the most shocking out of everyone that disappeared, I think, was, for me, Spider-Man and T'Challa. So T'Challa crawls over and attempt to lend a hand, and then the king advanced on African nation, of the advanced African nation, turns to dust and fades away. It was like, what? They just killed T'Challa right now? Like, whoa. You could hear half of the audience was like, what? That's crazy. The scene sets up and makes it look like Okoye will be the one to go instead of her king. But T'Challa's disappearance is one of the Infinity War's most insane shockers. So when everyone starts to disappear, and when Thor turns to Thanos and is like, what have you done? I thought that we were going to get some of the minor characters that sort of slowly disappear, like Okoye, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Rocket, some of the people that you think that they're not going to need in part 4, right? That's who I was thinking of. But that did not happen. And then also we had Peter Parker. Oh, Peter Parker was so sad. It was a nightmare to watch any of our heroes fade away after Thanos' finger snap. But one of the most surprising and heart-wrenching of the bunch was the death, because we know he's going to come back, of Spider-Man, going away much more slowly than any of the other characters before him. Peter slowly stumbles into Tony Stark's arms and apologizes for failing his mentor in one of the film's most emotionally devastating moments. The kicker? Spider-Man has only been around the Marvel Cinematic Universe for only 2 years, right? And has clear plans for another movie. So it seems unlikely that anybody would have expected that he'd be one of the people to go. And when you think about that, that's true. Maybe that's why I didn't think some of the larger characters were going to die, because you think, like, okay, we know they're going to have more movies, so Black Panther's not going to go. There's just no way. Spider-Man's not going to go. There's just no way, right? It was so shocking and yet satisfying, because they went there. Like, when you left, I know some people were comparing it to Empire Strikes Back, and I don't think in terms of overall, like, Empire Strikes Back is one of my favorite movies, so I don't think in overall just film quality, because of course this movie is great, but The Empire Strikes Back is one of the greatest movies of all time, and maybe this will be as time goes along. But in the sense of, I wonder if this was how people felt in 1980 when The Empire Strikes Back ended, and you're just like, sit in your seat and you're shocked and you can't believe everything that just went down. I guess what I mean is gravity for the universe that you enjoy, everything that happened, the shocking deaths, the people that you know are really dead. The fact, it's the same as Empire Strikes Back, because you don't know what your heroes are going to do next, right? You don't know what your heroes are going to do to get themselves out of peril. And of course I've read comic books before, but I don't know exactly what happens next. And please don't spoil it at the bottom of the comment section. I don't want to know. I want to go into part 4 with a clear mind, except of course what they show us in the trailer. I want to enjoy the story. I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed all these things that were so shocking. And to see some of these deaths and to know that they actually did it, I loved that, because a lot of times filmmakers, they just don't go there, and the Russo brothers, they knocked out that punch. And we've spent 10 years with these characters, and like, Marvel movies are movies that I can watch over, on FX they play movies over and over and over again, especially Thor. I just enjoy them so much, and I think that's what makes the movie great for me. I enjoyed it very much, is because of my connection to them, and that I feel these things are shocking. These things are only shocking because we've spent the last 10 years with these characters. We've seen them grow. Seeing them interact with each other was just such a pleasure, and feeling that build up. So for all these things to happen, things can only be shocking if an audience cares, right? And so this movie is fantastic and enjoyable, and I can't wait to watch it again. I'm sure I'll still be a little shook up as I watch. And like, I think as an audience, we should just appreciate what's been given to us and how well it's been done. And I can't wait to watch this movie again. You guys will have to tell me what was really shocking for you. Is there something on my list that you were like, that wasn't that surprising, or you totally forgot about this? Again, I got some of these from the article, and I'll link it down below. But I've also added things that I just felt like, wow, I can't believe we're here, and I can't wait to see part 2. We don't know what the title is yet. I'm not going to try to guess what the title is. Give me the title, and then from there we can kind of guess what's going to happen. But I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. Feel free to like, subscribe, and thanks for listening in. I will check you guys on the next video.